Ready for a new ride? Let Canyon View Credit Union get you road tripping this summer. Finance your next vehicle with Canyon View Credit Union, and you will enjoy no payments for 90 days, even if you buy something used. Visit canyonviewcu.com to get pre-approved so you know exactly what you can afford, you'll have confidence at the dealership, and you won't have to guess at your payment amounts. Apply today at canyonviewcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply. Today on CityCast Salt Lake, the fires keep raging. There was even a grass fire at Tanner Park this past weekend. We've got our hands on some new wildfire reporting related to the death of 3 firefighters. Something interesting to discuss here. Plus, Visit Salt Lake wants us to rebrand as America's Mountain City. Will it stick? And we've got shoutouts. I'm Ali Vallarta. I'm here with producer Ivana Martinez and CityCast Salt Lake contributor Kate Groetzinger. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi there.
Before we get into wildfire news, I mean, the heat and the wildfire situation being something impossible to disentangle. Where were you when we broke our 107-degree record at, what was it, 2:30 on Sunday? They always measure at the airport.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, did you see that there was a flight that couldn't land?
Yeah, yes. I did. That was crazy. And they had to reroute to Twin Cities.
Twin Falls, yeah.
Twin Falls, yeah.
I'm always stunned at the things that our airports and our planes can't sustain. Like every time I'm at like JFK and they're like, we have to de-ice. I'm like, when we built this airport, there was ice in New York.
Right.
So, but the West is aridifying, and this is like, I feel like a huge piece of the heat is like, this is our new reality. Like we're breaking records. I don't know that like next year we'll have a 70-degree summer.
I think it's only going to get hotter and hotter. It feels like this is just the new normal, and we're all just going to have to get used to it and figure out how to stay cold in this time.
Yeah.
We are told by the National Weather Service that this extreme heat will end today, hopefully. So,
thank God.
We'll be out of the triple digits, but it's still going to be hot. So I don't know. I mean, Salt Lake County extended their cooling center hours. I continue to walk my dog basically at midnight. I think we're all just figuring out how to get through it, but definitely be careful and stay hydrated. On that note, let's talk about wildfires. Kate, you alerted me, full disclosure, to this story. Some reporting about the death of 3 wildland firefighters in southern Utah. In case you missed it, this happened, a week and a half ago. 3 very young people who were fighting a wildfire on the Utah-Colorado border died while fighting that wildfire. And it happened around the same time that like the fire was burning behind the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. It just really was a very particular weekend that it felt like we had a new fire start constantly.
Yeah.
And I think this was a really distressing story for a lot of people because we're barely into fire season. We're already losing lives. Walk us through what we really need to understand about how and why these lives were lost, presumably.
Sure. Yeah, there actually is a lot of there's news around wildland firefighting this summer because the Trump administration has come in and sort of changed a couple of key things. The Trump administration created a new wildland fire service just in the past year. And it's in an awkward position right now. It has not been funded by Congress. It has not been approved by Congress, but it's been created administratively. And so one of the firefighters who did die was technically part of this new U.S. Wildland Fire Service. The other 2 were with the U.S. Forest Service. And that's actually a big question right now at play in this story is who actually gave the orders to send these 3 wildfire fighters into this fire. They were part of a helitack crew, which means they were in a helicopter and they were dropped into the middle of the fire to fight it.
Wow.
And the other big question is why were they dropped in to fight this fire? It was happening in a very remote and rugged area. There was no imminent danger to life or to structures. So a lot of firefighter advocates, people who were firefighters and have now retired, they're asking really who made the call to send them in and why. And there will be a full report that the federal government creates, and it will look into those questions. We don't know when that will come out. And going back to the big changes with firefighting this summer, the other big change is that the Trump administration has revived something that's kind of colloquially known as the 10 a.m. policy, which is also known as full suppression. So instead of letting fires burn, like, for example, where they're in sort of rugged, remote terrain where they're not threatening structures or lives. In the recent past, there was a shift towards letting those fires burn because they do actually sometimes help reduce wildfire risk in the future. And now they've shifted to this policy of putting every fire out as fast as possible. And that, I think, does possibly play into why these 3 firefighters were dropped in to fight this remote fire, because the Trump administration, they have decided that they want to put out every fire as soon as possible. One other thing I'll mention is that the U.S. Forest Service, which actually the majority of our wildfire fighting force federally is housed within the U.S. Forest Service. And the Trump administration has forced out and pushed out and offered early retirement to a lot of Forest Service employees. I believe that agency-wide, the staffing is down by about 24% since Trump took office. So they've been really careful to say they haven't fired any firefighters, but they have fired a lot of the support staff. And of course, they've created this big reorganization of firefighting, just like sort of chain of command and staffing by creating this new federal wildfire service. So there's a lot of moving pieces and really kind of not a lot of accountability right now.
And we should clarify, Kate, the reason we've brought you here is because you are an expert on public lands policy. You work for an organization called the Center for Western Priorities. You are our public lands expert.
Yeah.
Here's a question that I have just hearing you talk about this 10 a.m. rule. This suppression rule. Does this mean the federal government will no longer be pursuing like prescribed burning or controlled burning? How does that conflict with this policy?
That's a great question. I actually don't know the answer to that, but I will say I don't think that it precludes prescribed fire, but we certainly are not seeing the Forest Service starting any prescribed burns in the summer, especially in quote unquote wildfire season, which has now extended to almost the whole year. So they call prescribed burns, that's part of fuel reduction. And fuel reduction just means, again, getting rid of the undergrowth, the small stuff that really helps these fires move fast and get bigger. And we actually did, my organization, the Center for Western Priorities, put out a report where we looked at fuel reduction treatments in the past winter, which is when they do these treatments. And they were down significantly across the board because of the staffing cuts at the Forest Service that the Trump administration has pursued. So they're doing less prescribed burning just by virtue of having less staff, I believe. But I do think that I don't think that has been ruled out entirely of their management process, but they would not be lighting those prescribed fires during the late spring, summer, or early fall when it's hot and dry.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And what was really interesting to me about this story was that this kind of policy in some ways was being pushed forward by fire aviation companies who are being brought in to attack these fires, like under the full suppression policy. Is that correct, Kate?
Yeah, that's actually, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah, who's making money off this?
Yeah, because it feels like, I was like, where did this change come from? Like, why now? Why is this happening? And like hearing that this has been kind of pushed forward by these private aviation companies that are being the ones who are basically brought in to attack these things. It's like they seem like they are the beneficiaries of this new policy change.
Yes. I think those are the conversations we're having within my organization with our partners as well right now, trying to figure out who follow the money, who is making money, who was pushing for this. We've, filed federal records requests to figure that out. But for sure, I mean, as with most things in the Trump administration, there is someone making money at the end of this policy decision, that's pushing this forward. And there are these private aviation companies that the federal government will contract with to go in and attack wildfires when the federal forces aren't available. So Congressman Tim Sheehy, I forget, he might be a senator from Montana. I think he is a senator, actually. So Tim Sheehy, he was recently elected in Montana to serve in Congress, and he actually owns a private aviation company and has been on the record advocating for this kind of increased use of private contractors in federal firefighting.
Yeah, it's a Bridger Aerospace, right?
Bridger, that's his thing.
Yeah. Well, The other thing that was really interesting about this story was that like this new policy is coming in, like this full suppression, but firefighters were already doing a pretty good job of taking care of these fires, right? Like it was like I saw what 98% of these fires were being contained or being taken care of. Like this was already in pretty good shape. And like it seems like the Trump administration is trying to fix something that didn't seem entirely broken and almost dismantling pieces like you mentioned to the defunding that has happened, this kind of pulling apart at the forest management area. And what a bad time to do this as like temps are getting hotter. Yeah.
Doing it during fire season is terrible. And they did start this reorganization earlier this year, but like this is it, they are building the plane while it's in the air, essentially, with this, both literally and figuratively. But to your question of why now, if you guys remember, the Grand Canyon National Park had a really big fire last summer called the Dragon Bravo fire. And that fire was burning. The National Park Service firefighters decided to let it burn because it was a low intensity fire and they felt like it was, could be beneficial to the landscape. And then the winds increased and shifted and the fire got out of control really quickly. So the Trump administration has pointed to that fire as one of the reasons it's implementing this new policy. I do think just the extreme heat that we're seeing this summer and the extreme drought that we had this winter does make fire risk a lot higher and does in some ways justify implementing this policy for a short amount of time while these conditions exist, because fires can get out of control so much easier when there's so much dead and dry fuel on the ground because of drought and high temps. So I think that there's maybe some justification for it, for the full suppression policy. And then going back to this combined interagency firefighting force, the U.S. Wildland Fire Service, which is this new sort of structure that the Trump administration has created. It's not a new idea. Firefighting advocates have been floating this for a while. They do say it actually could help with with clarifying chain of command, because right now they're firefighters within the Fish and Wildland Service, the Bureau of Land Management, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the U.S. Forest Service, the National Park Service. They all have their own firefighting crews, and putting them together into this Wildland Fire Service is not necessarily a bad idea, but there is a lot of skepticism among firefighting advocates about how it's being carried out right now, especially amid staffing cuts and going into fire season.
Yeah. One of the things that I find most, I think, saddening and also frightening about this, of course, these are 3 lives that cannot be brought back, right? These are young 20,
and they were in their
30-year-old
20s,
people, very, very young, from all over the country who were here fighting these fires. I remember reading some reporting from last year that in the Intermountain West, our firefighter vacancy rates are really high. Like we're in I think 34% vacancy rate for firefighting workforce positions in the Intermountain West. I have to imagine 3 deaths at the start of fire season, which it seems based on what you're saying, this is my own interpretation, Kate, needless deaths, is going to really chill this workforce and make people question whether this is the career for them, and make their families question whether this is the career for them.
Yeah.
What is the impact of that on Utah's future? Because now we don't just not even have necessarily the water to fight these fires. We don't have the staff.
Yeah, it's a great question, Ali. This is not the first time wildland firefighters have died while fighting fires. There was a much bigger accident that happened in the past. The question of, do the current conditions and this full suppression policy make it more attractive or less attractive to become a firefighter are very interesting, because actually the full suppression policy means more work for firefighters. And one thing about federal wildland firefighters is they want to put in as many hours as they possibly can, because they get paid a pittance unless they go into overtime. Their overtime wages are like where they make their actual money that they live off of for the rest of the year. So I was talking to someone recently who has a friend who's a wildland firefighter, and they were like kind of happy about this policy, and also just not happy about the fact that we're having a lot of fires, but they were like, I'm going to make a ton of money this summer. So there is the possibility, the insane amount of wildfires we're already seeing and will be seeing this summer, combined with the full suppression policy, mean there's more work, which means more money. But yeah, it means more danger for sure.
And potentially burnout.
In burnout, for sure. And burnout. Yeah, right. It's easy to be excited about making a lot of money at the beginning of the summer. Like, for sure, I imagine that the story would be a little different by the end of the summer with a lot of these folks who maybe have been pushed to their limits. And in the Washington Post, they had a really good story talking to a number of firefighters who remained anonymous, who work for the federal government. And they all were saying that morale is very low, especially following these firefighter deaths. They feel like they don't have trust in their command. They don't feel like their lives are being, maybe valued as much as they would like them to be. So there is definitely that sentiment as well.
It is officially too hot to spend all day outside. Perfect weather for taking up a new hobby. Salt Lake Society makes sewing fun and accessible with a variety of fabrics, notions, patterns. They have everything you need for your next project in a gorgeous new warehouse space in Salt Lake City's Granary District. One of my favorite things about a new hobby is opening up my world to all these new people. Plug into a community of makers by taking a beginner class or joining Society on their Summertime Makers backpacking trip. So fun! The Society backpacking trips are July 31st through August 2nd or August 28th through 30th and are totally free to join. Learn something new and make new friends at Salt Lake Society. You can find out more about their social events and classes at saltlakesociety.com or stop by their brick and mortar on 300 West to shop fabrics and patterns. The heat is back, but Cozy Earth bamboo sheets will keep you cool all night long. At the end of a long summer day, slipping between Cozy Earth bamboo sheets is like sliding into cool water. They are silky smooth and come in beautiful prints and colors. I've got my eye on the mulberry. I love a jewel tone. Made from viscose from bamboo, breathable, soft, and built for summer. Odds are you spend more time in bed than you do at work. So invest in a bedroom setup that looks after you. Give the Cozy Earth bamboo sheet set a try, and I've got 2 different offers to make it an easy decision. First, Cozy Earth stands behind everything they make, so you get a 10-year warranty and 100 nights of hassle-free returns on bedding. Second, take advantage of affordable luxury. Head to CozyEarth.com and use code CozySaltLake for 20% off. That is Cozy Salt Lake for an exclusive 20% off. And if you see a post-purchase survey, mention you heard about Cozy Earth right here. CityCast Salt Lake contributor Kate Groetzinger, producer Ivana Martinez. Visit Salt Lake really wants Salt Lake City to rebrand itself as America's Mountain City. They released this whole campaign, but they need it to stick. They need us to say, like, it's so funny to me because, like, you can rebrand something, but if people refuse to say it, then it doesn't happen. So
Totally.
Yeah.
do you think this is going to stick? America's Mountain City.
Well, I'm curious, did you guys see the video for this campaign?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Narrated by Bad Brad Wheeler. Sure did.
I was wondering whose voice that was.
Honestly, I was like, visuals were incredible. And I think if I was like from out of state, I'd be like, wow, that is actually like a pretty, like, they got my ass. Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You want to do a little spin in the Capitol and stare up at the dome?
yeah, the little couple holding on to each other and like the mountain climbing. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it'll stick, but I definitely think it's a good little rebrand for Salt Lake. I'm honestly curious, what was our previous tagline?
Well,
It used to make best snow on earth.
It was so bad, right? It was like
life elevated is Utah.
No, it was west of expected or something. It was like
that's right.
So bad.
That was their last campaign. West of conventional.
West of conventional. Terrible. Yeah. No one's saying that. No one's ever going to say that.
Our newsletter editor, Therina Ria, tried to make the big salty happen, and that's the best one I've heard so far.
Right. No, I agree with you, Ivana. I think the video was really lovely, and it did sort of make me want to actually go out and explore the city more. and actually visit the Capitol for the first time. Still haven't set foot in there, which I now am starting to wear
That
as a
is
badge
crazy.
of pride. I know.
Yeah.
I'm sort of like, at this point, I shouldn't go.
No, don't go in there.
But yeah, I think this is, this is something we already say when people bring up Denver. We say,
Yeah.
no, we're the mountain city.
Yes.
Like, so I think we're already saying it. So I think it's a smart rebrand because it doesn't try to reinvent the wheel or like push a new narrative. It's just like, this is what people think about when they think about Salt Lake. This is what people who live here are proud of. Lean into it. I don't know. I like it. I think it's logical.
I love it.
I don't necessarily want more people to move here though, but
No, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But that is the job of the Department of Tourism
Yes.
is to make people visit here, and visiting places inevitably ends up in a certain percentage of people living places. And so that's their bag. There is this line in the video that I loved. They say a day here feels bigger, which I think is fun.
yeah, that's nice.
Salt Lake doesn't just welcome you, it wakes you up, energizes you, challenges you. Most cities end where the mountains begin. Here, that line never existed. I love this campaign because it gets at exactly what you guys are saying. It's the subtext is screw you, Denver.
Exactly.
The subtext is, oh, have fun living in Denver, which you thought was going to look like Salt Lake City, but it looks more like Minneapolis.
They had a line in the video that was like, our mountains aren't like a distant skyline. They watch
They're right
over
there.
us. Yeah,
They're
exactly.
right there.
And I was like, damn, Denver shade.
Denver shade.
100%. I mean, Ali, you like asked what we did at the top of this episode to get out of this goddamn heat. And I went into the Uintas and it was incredibly lovely. And I feel like I kind of lived this campaign, not to like.
But the thing about this campaign, though, that does bother me is that it also does the thing that we can't stop doing in this city and in this state, which is painting ourselves as the underdog, which is like being defensive and being like, well, you just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I feel like we're so obsessed with how we're perceived. It's like almost embarrassing. Like on the one hand, I'm so ready to throw rocks at Denver. And then on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, you know who was throwing the rocks? David, not Goliath. Like, it's time to let it go and just be ourselves, And
But
stop,
maybe that's what this is.
Comparing ourselves to other cities, which I get I'm totally doing in this moment. I'm 100% playing into that.
Yeah. But I mean, like, okay, the other thought that came to mind when I saw this rebrand was like, you know what else has done a lot to boost our tourism, or at least in my opinion, what it feels like is like reality TV. And I'm like, should we have like a little tagline to that? Because I feel like we've gotten a lot of notoriety for like, I've seen so many
housewives.
people, our secret wives, our housewives, like we have become kind of like really in people's faces also through that. And like Visit Salt Lake also, maybe we credit the housewives a little bit, America's mountain town, wife city.
No, wife city. Wife city is hilarious.
I don't know.
Wife City. I love Wife City.
You know what? Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I think that Salt Lake, like politically and like culturally, it wouldn't make sense for the city of Salt Lake since, let's be honest, most of these wives live outside of city limits.
Utah County,
Park City. So I don't know if it makes sense for the city itself, but it definitely is when I go out of state and say I'm from Salt Lake City or Utah. One of the first questions I get asked is not about our mountains, but about our housewives,
100%,
and our secret lives of wives
and dirty sodas and all of our
secret
culturals.
wives.
Yeah. And we should mention that like this rebrand is coming almost to coincide with our Olympic bid for the 2034 Winter Olympics.
We don't bid no mo. We got it. We bowed. We
got it. Well, I mean, we'll see about that. Because the other thing that came up for me is like, we're the mountain city. And like, the thing that is kind of, you're pulling a thread here is like skiing and all that great cultural stuff that you want to get out into the mountains. Like, it's not just hiking. It's it's this whole skiing thing. But like, we haven't had a great winter, and like,
No, but Ivana, we're gonna have a great winter because
gonna be
a
great.
super El
Knock on
Nino
wood.
is currently
Knock on
brewing
wood.
in the equatorial Pacific. I am buying an icon pass because not
Wow.
You know
an
what,
ad,
Allie?
because El Nino is coming. Okay.
Okay.
Should we go on
And you know what?
Kalshi and check?
And I'm gonna learn how to ski this year. I'm gonna get into the Discover Winter program this year.
Inshallah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. Ski Utah, listen up. Let her in.
Let her in.
Let her in.
It's time.
One thing that I feel like I have to say if we're talking about this is that if Salt Lake City wants to be Mountain City, USA, they need to figure out the freaking transportation in the canyons.
Yeah.
Like getting to the mountains is half the battle, folks. So they need to increase busing in the Cottonwood Canyons and build my train to Park City. Build
Yes.
it.
Let's do it.
And then we can be Mountain City.
And I mean, they really, really skim over that in the website landing
really
page for
do.
this. They have a line that even says, you can be in the mountains and you can like whatever in the morning, be in the mountains and then be back because there are no logistics. They say no logistics. And I'm like,
That's crazy.
Well, that's a
That's a lie.
freaking
living in the city is all logistics.
All logistics.
It's
Oh,
all
100%.
carpooling. It's all picking up the gear. It's all making it fit. Like This is a city for logistics lovers.
Yeah,
Yes.
create buses that actually can take people from their homes into the Cottonwood Canyons, and then we can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, today is Tuesday. On Tuesday, we do shout outs. Kate, you're our guest of honor. What's your shout out?
I'm shouting out a new coffee shop near my apartment, so I'm biased, but
Don't dox yourself now.
it's on South Temple. It's called Off the Record, I believe.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, it's called
Mhm.
Off the Record. It's a little pop-up that's in the historic clubhouse, which is a venue many CityCast listeners will probably be familiar with. There are a lot of events at the clubhouse. In their little front lobby, it is a coffee shop, and then they have they're spinning vinyl. And I went in for the first time this past weekend. It's been open. It's been running since the beginning of the summer, but it was so lovely in there. Nice and cool, great music, good coffee, good vibes. There's also a lot of outdoor seating, but there was no one there. So
That's so nice.
please go support my local coffee shop.
Yeah, no kidding.
I love that space feels like a house,
Mhm.
and it feels like just a very cozy environment. And gosh, I love it.
Totally.
What did you get?
I got a cold brew with pistachio milk, and then the guy who was making it kindly offered pistachio sweetener as well, pistachio like honey or something. And it was absolutely delightful. And just a final reminder, it's only open on Saturdays and Sundays. So yeah, check the hours.
Ivana, what about you? What's your shout out?
My shout out is a volunteer sesh on July 25th from 8 to 10 a.m. at Liberty Park. It's a fun way to make friends, and they're looking for volunteers. They currently have like 9 people signed up, and they need 41 more people.
Okay.
All right.
So
Plenty
that's
of
why I'm
space.
shutting up. And it's this effort's just like focusing on like beautifying and maintaining Liberty Park through like weeding and mulching and like trash pickup. And you get to meet cool people who really care about our parks. So I feel like it's kind of up your alley.
Yeah.
I actually went to one of their Liberty Park volunteer sessions last week, and it
Oh,
was lovely.
really?
Yeah, we did some weeding, and then we planted some plants. The problem is they usually are in the morning on work days, so that's a little bit limiting. But yeah.
This next one is on Saturday, July 25th. So you can
Oh, great.
8 to
Yeah.
10 a.m. I see.
Yeah. And I can
Awesome.
link it in the show notes for anyone interested in signing up.
Love it.
Yeah. What about you, Allie? What do you have?
I just want to shout out the Rio Grande plan. Ring the bell. RIP. That was fun while it lasted.
Wait, can you say what it was for people who might not know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to go negative, but basically, like, The reason I want to shout it out is, so the Rio Grande plan, in case you missed it, was this idea created by two urban planners, architects who really love the city and want it to be better. And the idea was to bury the rails, the actual like rail lines that are separating the east and west side of Salt Lake City, bury them, build this like train station box above them, and connect the east and west sides of the city, and also like build this cool train hub in downtown Salt Lake, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
It was a huge idea with a huge like $4+ billion budget. They were dreaming big. And Salt Lake City has an advisory board for its like east-west connection study that was reviewing ideas. The Rio Grande plan was one of the ideas they were reviewing, and that advisory board chose not to vote to endorse that plan, to move forward with it. They're going to focus on other things that they say are like more affordable and quote unquote more achievable. The reason I want to shout it out is because I think there is nothing cooler than having a big idea for your town and going for it. And I don't want the way that the tide has turned on the Rio Grande plan to discourage people who feel that way. We interview a lot of elected officials on this show. And what I can say is that I am often disappointed in their lack of ideas. Yeah. So they need us, okay? Yeah. They need us to be bringing them ideas because they're not bringing us ideas, unfortunately. Yeah. And so like, huge shout out to Tanner and Christian and everyone else who got behind this. And like the fact that it even was being voted on by a city advisory council as like just a true grassroots community effort is a success.
Totally.
Yeah.
And we need more of that.
Yeah.
Can we do that for busing in the canyons, please?
Big ideas only. and let's keep dreaming big.
I like little ones too. I just think like, have a damn idea. I'm begging. Any size. I'll take any size.
What do we do with our ideas, Ali? If you have ideas for the city, where should you send them?
Send them to us.
Okay. Something cool about this show is that we are powered by our members. We ask them for $10 a month or $100 a year. They fund our programming. They make it possible for us to make the show for you every single morning, as well as our newsletter and our social media content, if that's how you like to engage. So I want to shout out our two newest members, Heidi R. and Marina G. Welcome, you two. We couldn't do this without you. Woo-hoo. If you want to join our membership program, you can do that at membership.citycast.fm. Something cool we offer you as a perk, among other things like ad-free listening, is that on Tuesdays, we pass the mic and we let our members shout out people, places, and things that they think everyone should know about. Would you each like to read a shout out?
Yeah, I'd love to. Ali P says, Sugar Pop Nails and Lash Method offers nails, lashes, brows, and facials in bright, stylish space with energy you'll truly have to experience. Conveniently located at 800 South and 400 West.
I love conveniently located. That's a good friend shouting out someone's business. Want to read one, Kate?
Ashley L. says, Waste Less Solutions is a local nonprofit helping to reduce food waste in the Salt Lake area and has tickets available for its annual Second Chance Dance on August 17th at the Murray Armory. Local chefs will use high-quality rescued ingredients to create delicious small plates. There'll be alcohol donated from local businesses and a silent auction. Early bird pricing is $65 until July 17th. That's 4 days from now.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the Second Chance Dance brought to you by Waste Less Solutions. That sounds like a blast. Thank you, Ashley L.
I love that.
I have huge news, which is I am emceeing that event, and I emceed it last year.
I was about to say,
it's so fun.
No wonder it sounds familiar.
Yeah. Very cool.
Great organization, a really great time.
How was the food?
So good. And truly some of your favorite restaurants are there. Like last year, Arlo was there.
Oh, cool.
They had like pastry chefs, and everything they make is like from rescued food.
Yum.
It's really clever. Really clever.
Oh, I love
Way
that.
to showcase their work. Yeah. Support this show, get great perks. We'd love to have you in our membership program. We call our members CityCast Neighbors because we think neighbors make Salt Lake great. You can go to membership.citycast.fm to learn more. We cannot do this without you. So I'm asking you to visit that website and see if joining this program is a good fit for you. Enjoy some perks and feel good listening, knowing that you're contributing to the long-term well-being and success of this show. All right. CityCast Salt Lake contributor Kate Groetzinger, thanks for bringing your public lands expertise to us today.
Thanks for listening.
Producer Ivana Martinez, I'll see you around.
I'll see you around, Ali.
That is all for us today here on CityCast Salt Lake. We will be back tomorrow morning. Take care.